spent in a miserable way.
U.S. News. Howard Schultz, former Starbucks chief, is preparing for an independent 2020 run. The new Howard Schultz, and a self-described lifelong Democrat, said Sunday he was preparing to run for president as an independent and had already begun the groundwork required to be on the ballot in all 50 states. Mr. Schultz, in an interview with the New York Times, said he planned to crisscross the country for the next 3 months as part of a book tour before deciding whether to enter the race. A billionaire, we have a broken political system with both parties basically in business to preserve their own ideology without a recognition and responsibility to represent the interests of the American people, Mr. Schultz said in the interview. Republicans and Democrats alike who no longer see themselves as part of the far extreme of the far right and the far left, you are looking for a home, he added. The word independent. Mr. Schultz was also featured in a segment on 60 Minutes on Sunday night ahead of the publication of his new book, From the Ground Up, in which he criticized President Trump as not qualified to be the president. The possibility of Mr. Schultz's candidacy as an independent has drawn condemnation from Democrats, who said that an independent run would split the vote on Election Day 2020 and hand Mr. Trump a second term. I have 2 words for Howard Schultz on a potential run for president as an independent, just that, Tina Podlodowski, chairwoman of the state Democratic Party of Washington, said last week as speculation mounted about Mr. Schultz's plans. Ira Tate, president of the Center for American Progress and a former advisor to Hillary Clinton, if he enters the race, I will start a Starbucks boycott because I am not giving a penny that will end up in the election coffers of a guy who will help Trump win. Mr. Schultz said he was well aware of the criticism, but said it was misplaced. I am certainly prepared for the cynics and the naysayers to come out and say this cannot be done, he said. I did agree with them. Asked if he would consider changing his mind and run as a Democrat, he said, I feel if I ran as a Democrat I would have to be disingenuous and say things that I don't believe because the party has shifted so far to the left. When I hear people espousing free government-paid college, free government-paid health care and a free government job for everyone, you on top of $21 trillion debt, you, the question is, how are we paying for all this and not bankrupting the country? Mr. Schultz said, it's as big of a false narrative as the wall, he added. Does someone have... Mr. Schultz, who grew up in the public housing projects in the Carter section of Brooklyn, became a billionaire by building Starbucks from 7 stores in Seattle into a global coffee chain with over 350,000 employees. He was known as with an estimated net worth of $3.3 billion. Mr. Schultz, 65, is one of several billionaires who had been mentioned as possible presidential contenders. The former hedge fund titan Tom Steyer, who had been eyeing a run, announced this month he would. Michael R. Bloom. Even before Mr. Schultz's announcement, Senator Bernie Sanders and Democrats including Senator Elizabeth Warren, who has already had delivered preemptive strikes at billionaires, specifically citing those who self-fund their campaigns. Mr. Bloomberg, with an estimated net worth of nearly $48 billion, has said he would self-fund any campaign. Mr. Schultz's consideration of entering the race as an independent evokes the 1992 campaign by the eccentric Texas billionaire Ross Perot, also a political neophyte. Mr. Perot, like Mr. Schultz, Mr. Perot expressed concern about the national debt and vowed to reduce it. Mr. Schultz, who pointed to a showing that 42% of voters identified as politically independent, scoffed at the comparisons to previous efforts of independent candidates. This is a very different time in America today in terms of how divided we are and the need for the country to come together, he said. I have done the work. Mr. Schultz is relying in part on a small team of outside advisors, including Steve Schmidt, the former campaign strategist for John McCain's 2008 presidential effort. Mr. Schultz's success or failure may lie in who emerges as a top contender in the Democratic Party. If Joseph R. If you have a choice between President Trump and a far less progressive Democrat, he said, many people think President Trump will get re-elected.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.